The Eccb and the ECCU Bankers Association and the Ease of Account Opening Working Group recently hosted a town hall meeting at the Antioch Baptist Church in St. Kitts to highlight the features of the new account. Among the panelists were ECCB Governor Timothy Antoine, who stressed that financial inclusion means more than just access to banking services.
We truly believe if our region has to grow, if it has to thrive, if we have to pursue our big push, which is double the size of our economy over the next decade, everybody has to be included in the financial system, except bad actors. And that is why we are here tonight. So I want to conclude by saying I'm grateful to the ECCU Bankers Association, my colleagues, and my colleague Levia for the work they've done for the last year or two on this issue in partnership.
There were also contributions from other panelists. President of the ECCU Bankers Association, Rolf Phillips, Working Group Chair, Nolan Gabriel Boyer, Co-Chair, Ron Leon, and ECCB Deputy Director, Levia Burton Mark.
You cannot have another bank account already. This has to be your first bank account. It's restricted in your annual deposit, so $3,000 per month or $36,000 annually. It can be jointly or singly. It is interest-bearing. It attracts no charges. You can use it for ATM, point of sale, and other types of transactional activities.
Continue to collaborate with the central bank to improve access to financial services. Many people are not aware of the clearinghouse, automated clearinghouse for processing checks, and the central processing of credit card payment transactions, all of which were collaborative efforts between the banks in the ECCU and the central bank. So this is our first effort, however, that is directly customer-facing to impact how customers access to financial services and access to having a bank account across the ECCU. I should say, however, that banks individually have been continually making efforts to try to make it easier for customers to open bank accounts. But I'm sure you would appreciate that if every bank is working on this individually or as part of a local association, they are interpreting legislation and saying, okay, how far can we go and what exactly can we do and how do we put these arrangements in place that customers can have an easier time. And some customers are in fact benefiting already or have benefited over the last few years from an easier process.
I could say there are two things that we try to do when we look at the risk that is associated with bringing in a new customer. And just to simplify this for your understanding, we try to ensure that we're meeting the expectation and the requirements of legislation. And we also try to ensure we're meeting the expectation and sometimes requirements of international standards or bodies across our waters. And that's a very big one. And I think we've spoken about some of the things that we have here, and we were able to get past legislation, but sometimes it's more than the legislation. Quite often, unfortunately, it's a lot more than the legislation. It's the bank saying, I need to ensure I am good because I need to continue business with my international partners, my correspondent banks. We have partners that are strategic to the business that we cannot afford to lose. And because of that, we would have decided that we need to put these policies and procedures in place to ensure that we can continue that business. And in retrospect, maybe a bit self-righteous, but we said this is for the betterment of everybody because we want to make sure the financial sector is secure and we continue to operate to provide these services.
And I wanted to indicate here, there is no distinction between our licensed financial institutions, that being the commercial banks or credit unions. They're governed by the same piece of legislation. Where we have witnessed the distinction is in the operationalization of the legislation, and that means the application within our financial institutions. And so to the person who would have posted the question online, yes, indeed, we have given consideration to what customer due diligence is supposed to look like, enhanced due diligence, but more so, what simplified due diligence is supposed to look like. And so as part of that, and Mr. Phillips would have indicated when he was giving his opening remarks, we have a fragmented system. You move from one financial institution to the next, and they're each going to ask you for different requirements as it relates to what is due diligence. We also have to take into consideration our risk framework. So many of us could attest. I have been to a bank. I've walked in. Nobody has assessed my risk. They don't know where I work. But I've been told you need 2 pieces of ID, proof of address, job letter. And by the way, you who do not have an account, I need a bank reference letter from you. So how am I going to open that account? And so what we have done as part of the working group is, in partnering with our financial institution, is to lay the framework within legislation and also in compliance with international best practices, international standards.
To open the basic bank account, customers need only present one valid photo ID, part of a simplified due diligence process that promises an easier and more customer-friendly experience. The account comes with several benefits. It's free to open with no maintenance fees, no minimum balance is required, you earn 2% annual interest, and customers can deposit up to $36,000 a year and enjoy access to the debit card and online services. However, overdraft and checkbook facilities are not included. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.